This is TOKYOREAL. I'm Ian Simpson, and with me today in the studio I have Josh Bryan. Welcome, Josh.
Hello.
Josh, you are a support manager for AnalysisPro, performance analysis consultancy solutions and builders company. Performance analysis. This is I see it as a rather recent division of sports science that's becoming very popular. Recent, but then again, 25 years ago, I started in what might be called as performance analysis back in my university days. Started my master's degree in something called notational analysis when we were using pen and paper to analyse what was happening on the sports field, which we thought was quite advanced. I stepped away from it for a number of years after that, and I've come back in recently, and the pen and paper's gone, and now it's all digitised. What happened while I was away?
So not masses, but then also masses. When I say not masses, I mean the same process is still happening, but we've just added in different components within that. I went to Cardiff Met Uni, as it used to be called UWIC when I went there.
Cardiff College when I went there.
Oh right, so it's changed again. So I studied performance analysis there and started doing my masters there as well. And we get taught about notational analysis, so breaking down a performance based on saying what's happening. And once you've broken it down, you have data or information to feed back. So typically that would lead to your stats and the overview of the performance, whether that's training or match. What becomes powerful though when it's feeding back to players and coaches is putting video into that.
Right.
Because data and statistics is brilliant and it can give us an overview of the performance, but it doesn't tell us everything. If we can link that data to video, then we can see everything and really benefit from it.
That's the powerful element of this science, isn't it? Sports science, yeah. And mainly it's used in sport now, and that's where it's basically come from, yeah. And I know that probably most of the elite teams in most sports are using some kind of performance analysis tools at the moment, presently. But is it only elite teams that are using these kind of systems?
No. So I suppose that's AnalysisPro, our company. One of our main goals is to let people at the grassroots level copy or mimic, do the same as what the elite level are doing. So when I talk about, I'll say video analysis. So video analysis and performance analysis, I think kind of people just think of them as the same thing anyway. The process is video in, break it down, video out.
Right.
That's all they're doing at the top level. There's lots of other parts going into it. But if you can do that down at the grassroots, then you can impact on performance, you can enhance coaching feedback, you can enhance feedback to the players. So what we do at AnalysisPro is build solutions with scalable versions of products. So we work with the elite teams, for example Leicester City, who just won the Premier League.
Oh, you work with Leicester City?
Yeah, which is a brilliant story.
Yeah, there's not a better story for you, really.
No, it's a quite good one. But we work with national governing bodies, we work with elite teams as well. But the stories we also like are the grassroots teams that we work with and when they're doing well. So for example, I play for Paynton Rugby, which is why I'm holding my arm like this because I fractured my collarbone. But I play for them.
I think the last time I met you, you had an injury. Where it's your leg? I think you were hobbling around on crutches.
Yeah, silly old game, not rugby. Silly old
Tell
game.
me about it.
But they use the processes as well because someone films the game, someone breaks it down, and then we feed back to the players. So for me as a player, I benefit from performance analysis. In my role here, I help other teams to use performance analysis and video analysis in their processes too.
So if I was a PE teacher, which I was in a high school, could I get you guys in and say, look, even at this level with my teams, schoolboy level, I want to use some kind of performance analysis tools. Yeah. Can you help me then?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of schools now, because we work with a lot of schools, they're filming. Everyone's filming. Everyone can pick up, affordable cameras, £100, £200. You have a camera, you can point it, or you have your phone. Everyone's got a phone with a video. So people are used to pointing at whatever they see and filming it. What we can come in is say, right, you've got that film, let us give you a tool that helps you break it down further. That a starting entry level thing costs £130. So you have the NAC Sport, the video analysis software is called.
Right.
You have that on your computer. You can connect the camera up and do stuff live, or we filmed it. So we filmed the lesson. It's our P lesson. We're looking at forward rolls, tucks. Okay, so we filmed it. We put the video into the software. We break it down, each person's, Johnny's rolls, Jimmy's rolls. Come back and review it with the students. And it's just video in, break it down, video out.
Right. That simplifies it nicely.
Yes,
yeah.
hopefully.
Yeah. And again at university level, and it just goes up. I'm guessing the more elite level you go, the more complex the solution, is it?
Well, so with the solution, there's different parts to performance analysis. So at AnalysisPro, we don't have one product. We have different products which work together in synergy to give what we see as a complete solution. So that's when we think about the process of video in, how do we film? So are we using normal cameras? Are we using fixed cameras, IP cameras, which we can talk about later? And then when we're breaking it down, what are we doing? Are we doing stuff live? Are we doing it post-event? Is it on an iPad? Is it on a computer? And then what do we do when we've got it? How do we review it? How do we share it? How do we dig into more of that data? So at the top levels there are different components coming in, because I'm sure you've heard of Opta. Most people hear of Opta that gives stats for football, for example.
Yeah.
So Opta is a service where they'll have people watching the game and analysing all this data live. And football teams and rugby teams have access to that data at the top level I'm talking about now. So we've got tools that can say, right, take in that data. So think down at, if you're at the grassroots, it's a process that we're doing all the manual information. They still do that at the elite level, but they have those other bits feeding in as well. So with the solution, it's what do they want to achieve, and how can they achieve it best with the different tools we've got.
I see. So you basically custom make a solution for them.
Yeah.
The way, from what I can see, the real beauty of the system is that you can do the analysis in real time. So if a game ends up lasting an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, whatever it is, you don't have to rewatch the whole thing and analyze it using post game. You can do it on the fly or in real time. Yeah, definitely. That's the key point, is it?
Yeah, at the top level, this is what they will all do. The great thing now, because like I say, we build these solutions and it's affordable from the grassroots. We have schools, for example, doing live analysis. Wellington College with their cricket team as a good example, just because it's fresh in my head. I've been working with them this week. They have their crickets going on. Their camera is connected to the laptop, which is running NAC Sport. They're analysing live, and what I've done to work with them is build a dashboard. So right at the start of our conversation, we were talking about notation analysis and getting the statistics out. In the NAC Sport software, you can make a dashboard that shows you, percentages, pie charts, whatever you want to look at. And we've broken down the cricket wicket into where the lines and lengths of the deliveries that the team are getting. So as this is being analysed live, they've got a dashboard which is saying, when we're facing the ball a Yorker wide, which would be a strange one, but how do we deal with that? Have we dealt with it positively? How many times is this team batting to us? So there's information we're getting live that we can affect on the performance. Now the really good thing, which you can still do with the affordable versions, is we say, right, I'm on my machine and I can see this information, but how do I get my coach and my players seeing it?
Right.
So we set up something called a live stream, for example. So it's not a live stream with the whole video going to YouTube, which is possible, but what we're doing here is saying, here's my dashboard of information, here are the clips I'm registering. Now let's send that wirelessly to an iPad over there, a couple of phones by the players, a computer, and everyone can be looking at the data themselves, seeing how they're dealing with those the balls that are being pitched to them, and watch back the clips, which is the really powerful bit.
Right.
So
during the game.
During the game.
Yeah. I mean, in the stadiums, I see the analyst often sitting at the top, and I see the head coach sitting down at the bottom near the touchline somewhere. He's got an iPad. Is that what's happening then?
That's exactly what's
happening. It's coming from the analyst directly onto the head coach's iPad,
Yeah.
and he's taking off he can play around with it anyway. He chooses.
So he can watch back those clips, and so he knows when he goes in at half time, right, these are the clips that I take in. So I've already got my clips prepared.
It's not a subjective halftime talk, it's a quantitative, this is what happened, these are the stats, this is what we have to do in the second half. So he's got real data.
Exactly, because the typical thing with, probably a line I should have remembered, but when people say what are the benefits or why do we use performance analysis, when you think of coaching feedback and how much you can recall from a performance. So a game's happened, how much of that can you accurately recall? You can't. You can't. But the video has everything.
Yeah.
So if you're analysing it live and you've got the information there, you've got 100% what happened. That is the real data. You know, and then you can base your opinions on that and put in your coaching knowledge. So it's not there to replace the coaching process, it's there to enhance the coaching process.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of coaching in the past myself, and often, you know, you say to players, "Well, you know, you missed 7 tackles." No, I didn't. Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Now we can say you did, or you made 10 fantastic tackles. You know,
Yeah.
but your technique's a bit off on here, and I can show you how we can break it down. So, either as a team, you can look at the tactical side of it, running lines and things like that, I guess. Or as an individual, you can look at really specific skills as body angles when they're tackling or scrummaging or whatever. So it's very powerful. Yeah. And that real-time element and sharing data real-time is the real key to it, isn't it?
And the interesting thing with that is that until recently, that's only been possible at the top end because you needed expensive machines, you needed expensive software. So we've put in the NAC Sport versions, in our 2 top ones, which is still very affordable for what they are, if you think about the features you can do. Those processes of live review, you know, live sending stuff out is really achievable through a Windows machine, you know, just a router. So you don't have to have internet, it's just a network connection that you can send stuff out.
Now NAC Sport is Windows based, yeah?
Yes.
So, and I know you have a portfolio of tools now. It's not only, it's many-stranded. Can you talk to me a little bit about the different strands?
So when I was saying about, you know, we have video in, break it down and video out. Yeah. We talked about the top level use lots of different things. What we do in our solution building is say, right, how can we cover those areas? And NAC Sport is brilliant for breaking down the game, doing our live analysis and creating resources to review. So we can create presentations with drawing tools, with voiceovers, really pinpointing that information. Where we go next is how we can share that. So for me, I'm at the machine and I can look through everything. Maybe I have the players around me, which is brilliant. But that means we have to have contact with those people all the time. In the professional clubs, that's brilliant. You know, most days people are in. But when we think of schools, local clubs, the grassroots stuff we're looking for, the big benefits is going online. So we have a couple of tools called MyTPE, which is Team Performance Exchange, and MyTPA, which is Team Performance Analyzer.
Right.
Now these TPE is an online athlete management and file sharing. So it started from actually a hockey coach over in Holland who had his video clips that he's analysed. He wants to share it with his team. So he went and made this online platform. So the files get uploaded, people can watch it, and then he said, right, I want to see who's watching it, and I want people to comment around it. So now we can track who's actually buying into the team ethos or, you know, the feedback we want to give. People are commenting around it. So we're actually enhancing performance away from the field.
Right.
We're enhancing that coaching, the coaching methods, you know.
And that's a private and secure environment as well, isn't it? Where you choose who you send the videos to, who can see it, different levels of access for various members of the squad. Yeah. So you can control the environment.
Exactly.
On MyTPE.
Yeah. You choose who goes in and what they see, because it's not just about file sharing. We can have a calendar online. We can use messages. People get notifications, and then when we talked earlier about data management and digging in for more stuff, not just the video and performance, we can say, right, let's get the S&C guys in, let's get the nutrition in. because in TPE we can ask some questionnaires. So for the players, it's really easy to fill out. Every Thursday morning I do my game review. It takes me 2 minutes. But as a coach or as a sports scientist, I'm sitting there with all this information that I can review. And it's all through one platform.
Right. Does it have a social media element that can you upload photos of the games? For example, like somebody making a big hit, or to just add a social media element to it. Yeah.
That what my TPE is a platform. I think of it as a blank canvas with a huge toolbox that's in there. So however you want to use it, you can use it. Are you using it just for asking questionnaires? Are you putting up just specific game review stuff? Or you're actually saying, right, we've got our team in one place, how do we build the social side of the team? You know, there's many elements of, as a coach, you'll know there's many elements to get your team working, and it's just one of those places that you can have everything together.
Yeah, actually I use NAC and I use my TPE, and they are fantastic tools, so I would recommend them to anyone.
That's good.
So we'll come back to that a little bit maybe later. You mentioned my TPA.
Yeah, so this is one of the more recent developments. Well, we've been using it for a couple of years, but we've just taken it on another step. So when we were thinking about the video analysis process, I haven't mentioned this word, but timeline.
Right.
Okay, so a timeline is something that we use in NAC Sport, and it's something we have in TPA. So our video has a start and end point.
Yeah.
But when we're analysing, we're marking points within that.
Okay.
So we use a template to break down what's happening. So rather than us watching through the whole game, we have a row of line-outs, for example, or a row of corners.
Yeah.
And we see these represented on a timeline. So little parts of the video.
Okay.
So it's a really effective way of seeing your analysis and working with it. So what my TPA is an online timeline analysis tool.
Okay.
And where this becomes really beneficial is that, let's say I filmed my video, I put it online, and now within my club there's 3 coaches. And someone does the defence, someone does the attack, someone does the individuals.
Yeah.
So Halifax Rugby League do a good example of this.
Okay.
Videos online, and now all 3 of us, whether we're at home, whether we're at work, on our computer or our tablet, we can dial into the same project and analyse it with templates. So I'm going through doing my defensive analysis, Johnny's doing his attacking analysis. But it's all in one place, and we're sharing that analysis together.
So it's all stored on the same timeline. Or,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which means that
But
you
you're working
can
individually from different places on the same time on the same project.
exactly.
Yeah.
Which also means that, let's say we've done some work here today. You fly back to Japan, but you've forgot your computer. But you can log in on any computer because it's an online process.
Right.
So you always have your analysis at your fingertips.
Right. So if I'm a coach, and if every one of my players has an iPad, can I give them tasks to do, like almost like homework?
Yeah.
And say, okay, the backs or the halfbacks, I want you to look at the various aspects of halfback play, what you did in the game. I want you to analyse it, and they can actually do it themselves. They can
So if we're using my TPA now, you can have your users on as either an analyst, so they can use a template to break it down, or as a viewer. So what's really beneficial for teams is empowering coaches and empowering players. So let's say I'm the analyst. It's not my job just to give people stuff and feed information. I'm doing a good job if I'm empowering those coaches and players to start becoming self-analytical, carry out the processes themselves. I'm not going to do myself out of a job, but I'm making my job better. So what TPA does well with that to start with is we have the players on that are viewing everything, and I say, right, you 3 this week are doing the line-out analysis, you 3 are doing set-piece analysis. So these 3 people know that, right, I go through all the analysis which is done for me, and I make a playlist, key clip, key clip, key clip. And now I add on a comment to all this. So everyone in my team can load up the playlist which has been created. We can view back the video, and we're seeing all the comments on there. So it's a great way to start that empowering.
Yeah, I'm a great believer in that. I don't think we give players enough credit. I mean, that they play the game, and we can say to them, well, you should have done this or you should have done that. And often they go, well, okay, that's the coach's opinion. But if you say to them, no, you analyse your performance or you analyse the defence in the second half or whatever, suddenly it becomes a lot more meaningful to the players, because they're doing it themselves, and they're probably harder on themselves than often we are on them.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd agree with that. And they'll take it from themselves if they analyse themselves. So it's a very powerful tool, and I love that aspect of it.
Well, when we talked about, we were saying, is this just stuff at the elite or grassroots? So there's a school over Exeter Way called Bicton College. We're part of the Exeter Chiefs Rugby Academy, so they have different colleges and schools that lead towards that. So we started, they use NAC Sport, and it was the coaches breaking down everything. But then we've moved on, and there's more licenses in, and the players can view the whole analysis that's done, but they each go into a machine. So I think they've got 6 computers set up, and they go in at different times and analyse themselves. Which is brilliant. For the coaches, they have all that information to review, but the players, like we said, are self-analytical, and they develop so much more from it.
Do you find the modern day coaches are a lot more receptive to this kind of data collection and video analysis? I'll tell you why, because back in the day when I was coaching, a lot of the coaches, when I was an analyst as well, I would give them the data and they'd, oh, that's very interesting, thanks. Okay, everybody. Whereas, right, I just spent 2 hours doing that, and you know. Whereas modern day coaches, I'm guessing that they have to buy into this now. It's a big part of becoming successful.
I think so. There's success stories, from Leicester City, for example. I went to uni with Peter Clark, who's one of the analysts there, and is really good. But their processes they do at Leicester City, and it's all in the news at the minute, the science behind what they do.
Right.
They haven't spent masses of money. They're a great success story, but it's because they do all the different components that come together to have a big effect. And I think people are seeing, oh, actually, maybe we should be buying into this. And it has changed. And I think with the newer generations coming through, younger generations are more used to technology anyway. And it's so accessible now. I think as well, previously, it was maybe only used by the top because cameras cost a lot of money, computers cost a lot of money, the software used to cost a lot of money. But I think it's become more accessible, people are more aware of it, and people can see the benefits. So I think it has grown and grown, and it will just keep growing and be used more.
And it's great for you to say that AnalysisPro were a big part of Leicester City's 5,000 to 1 winning.
I wouldn't like to say we're the only part. We were.
No, but that's the thing. It's a whole package, isn't it? If people are going to say, how could they do that? They don't have all the star players. But they have all the right components in the right places that come together to create a culture that's successful.
I mean, they use my TPE. They use that as a communication tool, and they use our iPad app, AP Viewer, which when we talk about the timeline, and it's another way of reviewing that information. So our analysis from NAC Sport or my TPA, we put it onto iPads, and people can be walking around wherever. So Claudio Ranieri loves the iPad,
right?
And he's always reviewing stuff with it. He's using it up onto a TV and feeding back to players from it. So I was in there last week. I had a nice guided tour around from Pete and saw everything they're doing, and it's a brilliant environment. And it's empowering and it's enhancing, especially the coaching process.
I'm sure they must be doing something right. But I mean, coming back down to grassroots, I mean, as you just said quite rightly, now it's so easy. You can record good quality video on your iPhone, your smartphone, your iPad, all kinds of devices that we all have. You can get a selfie stick and put some blue tack on something and film something. It's so easy, isn't it?
It's step one is point the camera and shoot. And even just looking back at the video, you're doing video analysis because you're reviewing what you see. But then you think, right, where can I take this to the next level? Am I using NAC Sport Tag and Go, which is our template on our iPad, and we're analysing stuff through the game as it's happening? Or are we going straight into the NAC Sport software and breaking things down? So it's that gradual process. As long as we've got the video and pointing at it, we can work with that video. We can break it down, share it out, and impact on performance.
Yeah. And I like the way you simplified it in this interview. It's was it video in?
Video in, break it down.
Break it down, video out. Because I think a lot of people who are maybe not tech-minded, coaches, they might say, oh, I'm not tech-minded, I don't really want to get into that, it's complicated. When actually it's not, is it?
No.
You can simplify it.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be, a tech geek to be able to do this.
For example, because what NAC Sport do really, really well is, we listen to what the people at the top want and we develop tools for that. But the big amount of people is the grassroots. And what do they want that makes things easier? So stuff like, merging video files from my camera quickly. It sounds a bit techy, but it saves you hours of time. But going back to the point of coaches and digging in, if we, think from the first step, we've got our video, and I'm looking through and I probably have a pen and paper and I'm saying 10 minutes in, 12 minutes in, this is happening, 13 minutes in. And there's that process anyway of kind of the notational.
Yes.
So there's even a tool in the software where you just press one button, which is a control key, if you want to know.
Yeah.
Press one button and it pauses the video and says, right, what do you want to say? So it brings up a box, you type in your notes, done, that's it. Keep watching through, fast forward, rewind, control, type in some notes. So we're doing just what we were doing on the paper, but we can see the video, we're controlling it, and we're marking points in it. Then we go to the timeline and I have all my clips of notes with what I said and the moment that it happened. Really not hard to do.
No, and very powerful.
Yeah, definitely.
And the younger these players start using this kind of technology, I'm guessing, as they progress through, it's just going to be, they're going to be expecting it. It's going to be second nature. Hey, where's my analysis data? What time are you sending it through to me?
Yeah.
Because they've done it from grassroots level, from when they're kids or amateur players. So it's just becoming a big part of the game.
Yeah, definitely.
I can see a big contraption on the floor, and I got written on my notes, IP camera.
Yes.
What's
so this is an IP camera. I don't know which camera we're looking at. So you've probably seen them all around towns, wherever you go. They're like security cameras.
Right, I
so
have,
like a dome camera.
Yeah.
So what we've, AnalysisPro, we're about solution building. We think, right, this is what people want now, but what are they going to want in the future? Are we going to be ready for the next demands that come along? So we identified IP cameras as something that's important because easier to stream, you can leave them outside forever and they'll be fine. So we thought, right, there's a solution, there's a technology that needs to be used, but with normal security cameras, we've got a joystick, we move it to the right, the camera will catch up, then we're up, then we'll zoom in, then we'll zoom out. Anyone that's watched sport, on the TV knows that if you were seeing a camera that's going like that, then we're waiting, and like that, and we're waiting, it's no good.
Yeah.
So we thought, right, let's develop a solution that uses the best camera. So we can use 720p cameras, or now we've got a 4K camera, again future-proofing. But we want to control it with a joystick that the slowest movement or fastest movement I make, the camera's going to respond. So just as I have a normal tripod,
Yes.
the exact same movement and tracking that I want. So zooming in and out and moving at the same time. So step one, got that sorted. Now we just want to be able to capture the video. So here we're at the video in process. So we're not even breaking it down yet.
Right.
Video in. So I've got the movement controls I want. I want to be able to record this straight into my laptop in a file format I can use. So we record in MP4 or MOV. MP4 is used by everything now. And then something which is unique is that IP cameras normally don't have sound mixed with them. But if you're, like we're using radio mics, coaches use radio mics, or the referee, or just the ambient sound of the game. That is useful when you're looking through the video, because you can hear stuff that's going on as well. So we then, made our software, AP Capture, which sits on the machine, to sync in the sound with it at the same time. So we have high quality video, recording onto our machine with video mixed in.
Right.
And that was one of the big things we've done, and we've gone on to making, a mobile tripod, so we can rock up and within 5 minutes we've got our legs out on our tripod, we pump it up because it's pneumatic, and the IP camera is 6 meters up in the air.
Right.
Because if you're filming, you need height.
Yeah.
If we're stood on the side with the camera, we don't get the full perspective. As soon as we go up 6 meters, you can see everything that's going on.
And that's what coaches want to do a lot of the time, isn't it?
Yeah.
See it from different angles and see it at a height because you can see so much more.
Yeah.
So that's a great solution.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah.
And are they you say you pump it up? Are they temporary or are they actually fitted?
Yeah. So
permanently
there's
in some stages?
so we started with our mobile tripod, and that's where we went. We wanted something that people can carry around, easily get set up wherever they are. But then we do a lot of work with Cardiff Met, which is, we've both been there, but it's called different things. And they have a great setup with IP cameras. So their performance analysis processes are brilliant. They're the centre for performance analysis. The International Journal of Performance Analysis is run out of there.
Right.
So they have, for example, they've got one of the best football pitches in Wales, and around it they've got a 6 metre pole on one side with one of the IP cameras on it. Then at the end of the pitch, they've got a pole that goes up 12 metres that has 2 cameras on it. And they've got another one that's 15 metres up and 2 cameras. Right. So they could have 5 cameras pointing at this pitch.
Nothing
at
we can't see.
Yeah, they spot everything.
Yeah.
But the cameras are 360, so they can cover different pitches. They can zoom in really far. So they have all of these cameras in place, but all of the feeds go right back into the performance analysis lab. So where the students are on different machines running AP capture, where they can be recording and controlling the cameras live. So they're not even next to the pitch. They're nowhere near it.
No.
But they're filming and recording, and then someone else is using the IP feed straight into NAC Sport, because NAC Sport takes the IP feed,
Right.
and then I'm live analysing as well.
Yeah.
And then I could be going into our streaming software, and now I'm streaming this whole game up onto YouTube. Millfield School use our streaming stuff where they say, we've got international students, international parents, they have the IP cameras fixed all around the school as well. Wednesday afternoon, let's stream the rugby. And people are watching it all over the world. But it's all these processes which people think, no, that's probably too hard to do. It sounds like a lot of work, sounds not achievable for us. But it is.
Yeah, and as a coach, I don't have to have that knowledge because you, AnalysisPro, will come in and set it all up for me and train me how to do it, train me and my staff how to do it as well, and continually support us after it's all set up because you offer digital manager support as well.
Yeah, so my role is support manager,
yes,
so I'm going to say that I'm good at it, of course. But
well, you've helped me a lot.
So we know that, because if you've ever experienced something where you've bought something and something's gone wrong or you don't know how to use it and you try and get hold of someone and everyone's gone, it's the worst experience in the world. So we've built our reputation on always being there, end of the phone, email at any time. Not that my wife is very happy about that, but we're always available, and people will only get out what they put in, and then it can only put into the software information they know how to do. I'll rephrase that. If they're well trained on what to do, they can do it really well. But the training comes from us saying, what do you want to achieve?
Yes.
So I don't go in and say, right, what do you want your template to look like? How do you want to analyse it? What do you want at the end? And then we'll work back and say, okay, this is your ideal stuff that you have. How do we build a solution on this? How do we train you on it? So one of our, I think it's on the top there, one of our mottos is process, person, product.
Yeah.
So the first thing we establish is what do you want to do? Okay, what process do you need for that? Person, have you got someone that can do it? Do we need to train someone that can do it, or do we need to recommend someone that can come and do it? Third thing is, these are the tools. For us, the process that you use is universal. We just slightly tweak it to do different things. Video in, break it down, video out. That's your main process. So
and it's interesting now in that it's actually become an industry, hasn't it? Now we're talking about the students that are now graduating from Cardiff Met, as it's called now. and they're getting jobs as analysts in clubs and earning big money. Whereas before it was only the coaches who were getting the good money, and probably only the head coach was getting good. Now analysts can have a very good career with a good salary as an analyst at a club. It's become an industry in itself.
Yeah. There's so many jobs out there for analysts. There's some interesting points around the job side of it with when we think of internships and experience that people have, because you need experience in a job, and you can learn loads of stuff in university, using the tools, and it's like a playground. When I was there, it was like, this is your playground, learn your mistakes, learn the software. But then you have to work with teams to know how you work with a coach, how you work with players. Because it's not just about using the software and feeding information, it's relationships is the biggest thing, communication. And they're things that can't be developed as much until you work with a team.
Get in there and actually get the real life.
Where Cardiff Met do it really well is that the students that are on the courses or applying themselves get to work with the different teams within the uni, and then different national governing bodies that are linked with them. And that gives you that, we've got the playground, we can learn our mistakes, but we're still in a team environment. We know how a team works, we know how to communicate with the coach. So that's something that's really beneficial there.
It's like in Wales there, we used to have the outside half factory churning out number 10s. Now we're churning out analysts.
No, WRU are really good with analysis. Actually, the head of analysis at WRU is Rhys Long. He's now head of analysis at the English FA.
Oh, right.
So they've plucked him out because they know he's very good at what he does.
But it's not only sport. We've been talking about sport, but it's not only sport. There is a crossover, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think using this technology in business and industry and education is becoming even more. It's gradually spilling over, crossing over, and becoming popular, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And when we talked about video in, break it down, video out, that process is the same whether you're in sport, non-sport. Because as long as you've got a video, you can work with it.
So, can you give me some examples of how it's used in non-sport environment?
Yeah, so we've worked with, and we've got, similar to the NAC Sport software, we have a software called Coding, CODIMG.
Right.
And it's, again, a video analysis tool. It sits on a Windows machine. And we've done two really good projects with special schools, and now a new one with normal standard schools. So by special schools I mean special education, children with special needs. And we ran projects where we worked with a researcher from Cardiff Met and then Exeter House School, and we first looked at intensive interaction, which is a method that they use with children who are severely autistic, and it's a way of getting them to come out of their shell, for want of a better word. So they use a teaching method, but what we did is come in and say, right, you're filming these sessions, how can we break down that session? How can we give you more information from it? So we helped develop a template and a workflow that people use, that they're breaking down the sessions and giving data. They can see, how is the child interacting with this session? Can you identify trends of, is it, when we use a specific toy, does this lead to a greater effect, or does something lead to a negative effect? So whereas this information, if someone works with a child, they know that. They get, anyone that's done caring gets to know what people like, what people dislike. But in a school environment, you're not always guaranteed to be with the same child all the time. So can we break down this information and start picking out some key trends or key things to do and share that around? So this child, we can start building up a data for them that, right, this is what we should do. This is their improvement through the year. Things that typically, as we're told, is not assessed by their curriculum that they use. It doesn't track progress of that.
No. So yeah, that education, I can see it. I run a company in Asia called Edge, which, as you know, is actually a division of AnalysisPro, and you support me. Thank you very much. You do a great job there, you guys. And maybe I can just say then how we use it.
Yeah, please do.
Because in education, the way that I use it in the language school industry is that we use it in three ways. The first way is that if I'm running online English lessons or language lessons using through the medium of Skype, I can actually capture that Skype window, and as the student is talking to me, every time they make a mistake, I will press a key on the keyboard. If it's a P, a pronunciation mistake, I might press the P key, fluency F, grammar G, etc. You get the point. And again, I'm creating that timeline underneath, which I can, these are all, for example, it might be 10-second video clips of every mistake that's made. Not only mistakes, good points that are made in the Skype lesson as well. Then when the student goes offline, I can quickly open it up, write my feedback comments in there, and then click another button, splices it all together, send it up to my TPE, and by the time the student is riding home on the train, they can be watching a 3 to 4 minute highlighted video of their 50-minute English lesson.
Yeah.
It's very powerful. That's how we use. That's one way. The other way, we run events. Often we teach English through sport. So we might be outside, and similar to what you're saying, we've got cameras set up. So as the students are performing sporting activities, we're recording what's going on, and we can feed that back to the mothers, mainly the mothers, on my TPE, who are all registered on our my TPE system, and they can see what's been going on in our events. They can see what's been going on in the classroom, because we can use it in the classroom in real-time analysis. So if you're my student and we are having a lesson, a man-to-man lesson like this, and as you're talking to me, I might have you doing a role play. I might have you doing a mini speech. So I might record what you're doing on a manual capture, or I might on a 10-second clip. So in real time we can use it in the classroom as well. So that's how we use it. And of course the other aspect of it is that the Edge will actually sell you this technology. If you have your own educational institution or business or company and you want to use it in your institution, we'll actually sell it to you and support you technically, same as what you're doing with people over here. So another new area, I don't know whether you do this in the UK, but we've been working with one of the cancer hospitals in Japan, and they have this incredible robotic surgery machine called Da Vinci, which has like you were saying about the analysts in Cardiff Met, actually not watching the game. They're in a lab the other side of the campus. The same thing. The surgeon is not even facing the patient. He's 20 meters or 30 meters away on his computer, controlling the robotic arms, which are over on the patient. And he's saying to me, can we measure how I'm using these arms? And there's a third arm. I want to know how many times the third arm is used. So we're trying to provide a solution for robotic surgery that will give him what he wants. So that's taking it to a whole another dimension, using it in robotic surgery and medicine as well, which is quite exciting. It's only early stages, but between the things we're talking about, you can see the potential for this technology and where it could go in the future.
We do other quick examples with the educational side. Again, it's used for teacher training. So assessing, not actually now looking at the students like we did in the special school example, but what's the teacher doing during that session? It's a way of reviewing back. And then working with some police academies, and how are they doing their training? How are people performing on that training? Are people getting given the same amount of time? So let's say group 1 is in the morning, group 2 is in the afternoon. Because we've videoed and analysed the whole thing, group 1's briefing was 5 minutes, group 2's briefing was 3 minutes. Is that fair if we're doing stuff like that? It's kind of like quality control methods we can do as well.
Yeah, yeah. There's so many ways that we can use it. The industry has come so far in a short space of time, and I don't think, in non-sport, I don't think we've even scratched the surface of what can be done here.
Yeah.
You know, that's a whole
Exciting
another
times.
industry that's about to explode. I think you know. Hopefully, we'll be Edge and Analysis Pro will be at the forefront of it. I hope.
Yeah, we're here for the long run. So yeah.
One last question. Where do you see? We talked about the possibilities of non-sport. Where do you see this technology going in the future?
Well, I think because I can say it from some of the developments we're working on, is that we use machines, computers, and it's a lot of manual process that we're saying what's happening, and then we dive into the big data. So big data is a big thing, and people say, right, what can I see in all this information that I've got? So if we've got machines, computers that are there to do a job for us, how can we now get our software to give us that information? So we're already future-proofing with IP cameras, we've got software that's on a development path, but now we want to say, I'm using my same processes, but now my computer's going to tell me, this is happening often. So when these two players go into a ruck in rugby, for example, our two back rowers, how often are we getting a turnover? Or maybe when a certain pod of people are working together. All these typical things that you try and find what's the gold dust, what effects change for us as a team. If we can set up our machines that we say, right, these are the things I want to look out for, and as you're analysing, it's just a little message pops up, oh, look at this, here's some interesting information. So that's one of the big areas that we're pushing, and the software developer, Alberto, who's some kind of wizard, is doing really well of listening to what people want and kind of predicting what people want as well.
Right.
So it's that predictive analysis is actually another side of it.
Yeah.
I'm glad I said that word because that's what I was trying to explain the whole thing. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's an exciting future.
Mm.
Now, a lot of these, if our viewers they want to learn more about these solutions, on the Analysis Pro, you got all your platforms. You got
Yes.
Facebook.
So we're on Twitter at AnalysisPro. We're on Facebook, just AnalysisPro. We're on Instagram. Our website is www.analysispro.net.
Right.
And we're on LinkedIn, and I'm sure you'll have links as well.
Yeah,
Share.
actually, the Edge in Asia has links to most of your great videos. So if they go into our site, it'll basically link back to yours as well.
Yeah.
And we're developing our content as well. So that to make it really easy for people to understand what we do and what solutions we can offer them, and of course they can just call us up and we can go and see them and provide them with the solutions that they want.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things to talk about. Have I missed anything? Is there anything you want to?
No, I think that's covered stuff. One parting message from me is hopefully it's come across. There's lots of different stuff that can be done. Bearing in mind that we just focus on video in, break it down, video out. But if they get in touch with us, Analysis Pro or the Edge, it's about building a solution. It's that talking to us about what would you ideally like to achieve, and then we come in and do the hard work for you, saying here's some processes, here's some workflows you can do, and then let's train you up if you need it, and we'll heavily support you through it.
And don't stress, because anyone can do this.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Josh Bryan, Analysis Pro, thank you very much for joining us today on TOKYOREAL. And remember, TOKYOREAL is sponsored by the Edge, and indirectly by Analysis Pro. Thank you very much.
Cheers, thanks.
All right, thanks, Josh.
Back then when life was easy and high.